Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final faguettes, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
The Shake and Bake team. Shake and Bake. That's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start doing it. Shake and Bake's going to be me and Ian's thing now.
But do we shake our titties instead?
But we're here to talk about last night in Soho today, though, not Talladega Nights. This is a movie we watched a long time ago. We watched it when I was back in the other house. So,
oh God, we did, right?
Late. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, first impressions. What'd you think?
I thought it was all right. I thought it looked really cool. I thought it. I liked it. I didn't. I know you were worried that I was. You were worried that I was like really gonna hate it. I didn't hate it. I just thought it was fine.
I didn't think you were gonna hate it, so I did think that you were going to give it a solid 2.5 out of 5, and I thought that you were going to like the aesthetic, like the setup, and not so much the plot as a whole.
Yeah, that's. See, I want to tell everyone you're getting better at being able to tell my opinions, but I feel like I'm still fuck all with like. Will Zach like this? Maybe. I don't know. But you're getting better at being able to tell what I like.
It's okay. We'll have to make it a real game where we kind of like, I don't know, do shots or something if we get it wrong. Or I don't know. We'll come up with some cool game. This was one of my favorite movies of 2021. It really was. Like, I saw this movie 3 times in the theater, and I thought it was just so fucking good. It's Edgar Wright, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Baby Driver guy. And I think the last horror movie he did before this one was Shaun of the Dead. I hope I don't have that wrong. But yeah, with Shaun of the Dead, it's just a whole different tone in horror, you know?
Yeah.
This is more like what? Psychological thriller?
Yeah. Like, this is like barely horror, which I don't say as an insult. That's fine. Like, I feel like it's like psychological, but I guess like supernatural thriller because like there are ghosts. So like it could fall under either of those, like more like Hitchcock, like more Hitchcock thriller than like horror. Which again, I don't say as a negative because that's fine. Like I don't, you know.
Yeah.
And like it's weird because his first movies were all very much Shaun of the Dead, but like it's like all of his movies were very at first like those same character beats, that same tone. Did you ever see God, what is it? Bar at the End of the World or something at the End of the World?
Is it one of his?
Yeah.
Let me go to his filmography really quick.
It was like the Cornetto trilogy, where it was like all the same actors in different movies playing different characters. But
that was that part of the Shaun of the Dead and like Hot Fuzz or Fuzz or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Shaun of the Dead,
Hot Fuzz, and then that.
There was Fistful of Fingers. He also did Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which was another really, really good one. I did really like that one. Yeah, I think he's good. He just doesn't come along very often, right? Like he's kind of sporadic when he does movies. But I think this was like a fantastic effort, and everybody involved in it is so good that it's just like it really was one of my favorite movies of 2021. I think Spider-Man beat it. Did Spider-Man come out in 2021, or am I wrong?
Yeah.
That was December, correct?
December.
Okay, yeah. So just right at the end there, Spider-Man beat it.
It warms my heart to hear you say such nice things about a Marvel movie,
Listen,
Zachary.
I've never had a theater experience as I did for Spider-Man. No coming home way home. Something, whatever the hell you call it.
Spider-Man 3-way.
This one was really good. The second time I saw this one in theaters, I love watching people who had never seen it before. So there was these 2 ladies in front of me, and I was just watching them basically more than the whole movie just to see their reactions at certain parts. Because it's a stressful movie. It's a stressful watch. It gets a little stressful sometimes, and all the right beats. These ladies were cringing and like it was great. I love that. But I don't know. What did you like about it? I guess we could start there before we get into all the criticisms.
I mean, Anya Taylor Joy is fantastic. I mean, so we both saw New Mutants, and we both kind of felt the same way about New Mutants, but she was really good in that movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's just very good, right? Like,
yeah.
Even like, again, like a movie like New Mutants, like this movie was better than that, but that movie's like, but she makes it, I think like her presence makes it better, right? It's like, she's just very enjoyable to watch on screen.
She's just her face is just enjoyable. Like she's got such an acting presence. She was like a model before this too, right? Like she was from Argentina, and she was a model.
Her Spanish is better than yours or mine.
She's fucking gorgeous, and then comes out on the scene, and she's a fantastic actor as well, and she can sing, and like I guess just all around the best package you could want in
Yeah.
your movie. She was actually supposed to play Ellie. Did you know that? I have that written on some of my trivia. Edgar Wright wanted her to play the main girl, Ellie,
Oh.
but because she'd been playing such roles that were a little bit more like quieter, like Ellie's before, like in The Witch and all that, he wanted to give her some more to do, and so she goes into the movie, and she's this enigma, this vision of the past. We only see her really in flashbacks, and in that way, I think she works so much better because I left wanting more of her every time one of her scenes ends.
And I almost think that would have been a waste having her be Ellie because we needed that character to be like have this air of mystery and this air of like where it's like you feel bad, but also there's like something you're missing.
Yeah.
And I feel like she does that really, really well. That like not that I'm sure they could have found someone who was also good, but it would have felt like a waste of her for her to be the more like just like scared character.
Probably because she just does she's playing the character of Sandy. It's this young girl who goes to London and she's looking to make a name for herself. She's going to be a singer, dancer. She's going to be like a headlining act. And she goes into this club. We see her for the first time in one of the flashbacks, and she goes into this club and she's like sure that she's going to be a headliner at this club, which is one of the, I guess, most famous clubs in Soho at the time.
Right,
It's in London in the 60s. We hear that about 50 times. They want you to know it's London in the 60s. And when she does get out there and on the dance floor, when she starts talking to people, she has that fucking confidence. And like, I totally buy it. I'm like, yes, she is going to rule the world. Like I see.
And you know what I really like about it, and this is like a credit to her acting, is that in her like scenes by herself, that character is a little bit more quiet, but then you watch her turn it on. And I think that's really like, that shows what a good actor she is, that you watch her play this character who is maybe a little bit more reserved in quieter moments, but then when she turns it on, she like really turns it on.
Yeah.
But like sells you on like, oh, this isn't how she always is. She's, working the crowd and networking and all that shit. And I thought that was all really well done.
I mean, that's show business too, right? Like even this is a form of show business, right? Like we have to come on here and we have to be a little bit more lively, even if we're tired. Ian is very tired right now, but he's turning it on for us. Our little Sandy, get on out there, baby girl. And you kind of have to do that. She does do a really good job at that. Our main character is Ellie, though. So Ellie is got. I guess we opened with Ellie, and Ellie has this. She can see dead people, or she can see like visions of the past, or I don't exactly know what her ability is.
Wait, so the way I took it was like she sees her mom. I took it as like she doesn't have abilities. It's like, how am I going to describe this? It's like she lives in a world where ghosts are real. And like, I didn't think her mom was actually a ghost. I thought it was like, just like she was seeing her mom. And then the ghosts that she sees like in the apartment were like actual ghosts.
And by the end of the movie, did you stick with that? That's the
same
thing.
That's
okay. I saw it more as like she does see ghosts. I guess so. Like, so the thing with like people who can see ghosts and all that, very Sixth Sensey. I guess there's just people who are more sensitive to something like that, to abilities. I've always heard that everybody has that in them. Everybody has the ability to do that. But some people are more sensitive to the other side, that they're able to see or contact or like hear or something like that. So when a ghost is reaching out to you or some energy is like around you, you can pick up on it easier. And so that's kind of how I took it. But then like the visions come in, and I'm not sure how the visions play into it. I'm thinking like, I don't know. Because she sees the visions as dreams, right? She's not seeing the visions while she's up and awake, but she is seeing the ghosts while she's up and awake. So it's like this blend of her being able to see visions from the past and also picking up on this, like, I don't know, ghost energy. And this is the ability that after watching this movie, I don't know if I would want because she stressed me out this whole fucking movie. Let me tell you, like I every time I watch it, all the decisions she's making. And when you think about it, all these decisions that she's making, she can't really make any other decisions. When she's seeing something, she's physically reacting to it. However, nobody else is seeing what she's reacting to. And so she's almost stabbing Jocasta in the eyeball with some scissors, right? It's like stressful because I'm like, oh, poor Ellie. Girl, you I feel for you, but you need to go to jail. Somebody's going to arrest you.
Right, yeah. And I definitely, are you kidding? I don't want that power, because my go-to is like, what if a ghost walks in while I'm pooping or showering?
Oh
like, then
gosh,
what?
okay, and
Then
attacks you on
what?
the toilet, and then your mom has to run in because she hears you thrashing around, and she opens the door, and you're sitting with your ass on the toilet, fighting the shower curtain. You know,
Yeah, like,
like did you ever see you've seen that video of the? It's like I don't know, like a telenovela or something like that, and somebody like slaps her, and she like
oh yeah,
wraps own curtain around her neck. Yeah, that's what I'm picturing right now.
yeah, and that's like I always think about like a power where you don't get to decide when you're alone.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that because my go-to is what if it's when I'm pooping? Like, what if I'm on the toilet and that's when the thing happens?
Well, because this only happens in horror movies, Ian, that is not aesthetically pleasing to see somebody on the shitter while this is happening. Okay, they have to
But,
be
like, right?
in the library or something like that. You know. On the fucking toilet. This is where he goes. This is where he goes.
Are you kidding? Watching Yellow Jackets, I was just like, God, what are they doing about the bathroom situation? Like, that's I
They're
always
digging
when I
a fucking hole, Ian. They're digging a hole and shitting in it, and we don't have to watch them do it.
Could you imagine if I had to do that, Zachary?
You know, I'll go out and dig a hole for you. It'll be Ian's private hole.
Thanks.
It'll just that's his. Nobody goes over there.
I mean, there's plenty of wood, so we can all have our own hole, right?
Oh my gosh. No, but
Anyway.
I think back to this. Let's not talk about shit no more.
I also wanted to point out that she is wrong about a couple of things and gets like the old man killed.
We're not there yet, though. She is. This is one of my favorite things in horror right now. Characters who really like are being overcome by the supernatural something that nobody else can see. That we just covered New Nightmare, and I was just thinking of that while we were. Because I think we watched these pretty close together, right? And so I think when we watched this, I was thinking of Nancy or Heather Langenkamp in New Nightmare. I'm like, she looks insane too. Like she looks freaking psycho.
There was like 10 horror movies that came to me while you're talking, but now I forget all of them. But I feel like that's like where the person looks like wild, and it's like, ooh, well, no one's believing you because also like,
yeah, you
look unhinged. But I actually don't. Oh, I mean, I love New Nightmare, but I don't always love that trope. Because for here it didn't bother, but like not bother me, but it makes me just like, oh God, because like I'm like mad that no one's believing these characters.
Why would anybody believe that? I wouldn't believe you. You know,
I know you wouldn't, asshole.
No, I would. That was just a joke. But like in all reality, if you come to me saying that you're seeing ghosts and you know they're pulling your man bun, I'm helping you. I'm flying to Jersey. We're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna get some meters and some dowsing rods, and we're going to figure this shit out. Okay, that's gonna be a found footage movie all on its own. Would you consider Ellie a final girl? I don't know if I would.
So Ellie is my problem with the movie. Ellie, I think, is like the weakest. I think she's the weakest link, and she's just a very flat character who's just scared. And that I hate that. I hate when it's like the character is just scared and running away. And I felt like that's all she did. And that she was so wrong most of the movie. And it's like, man, you fucked up every possible way she fucked up. So I would not consider her a final girl, but I guess technically she lives. So if you consider this horror, she is a final girl, right?
I guess. I feel like the final girl term is like very loosey goosey now. Like anybody can pretty much be considered a final girl. But the thing is, she is running around. She has to. She's got these things chasing her. She keeps like having these visions and all of these crazy things. But she does not do that for the entire movie. So I do push back a little bit on that. I think she at some point decides to like go in with this mystery, and she's going to figure out who like killed Sandy because she has a vision that Sandy dies. That she basically goes through. Let's start from the beginning with Ellie, right? I think Ellie is I think she's a lot more complicated than you're giving her credit for. First off, she can be a little bit annoying. I do think Alistair agrees with you there that I think she was the weakest point for him too. But
I love when Alistair and I agree.
She very much is the I'm not like other girls girl. Mm-hmm. She feels like that. Like she gets to college and she shows up in these clothes that she made, which is really cool, right? Like she's going to fashion school. She shows up in clothes she already made. That's cool. But then she's like, only listen to 60s music. I want to be in London in the 60s. I wish I was alive during the 60s. You know, like that's her in a nutshell. Is like she's very much like, I can't stay with these girls in this dormitory. They're too modern. She calls herself Jocasta. Hurricane Jocasta.
Keep going, keep going. I'm
Oh no,
enjoying it.
I've ran out of lines. But she's like, she kind of rejects everybody else and kind of isolates herself. Nobody really isolates her.
Yeah.
There is a moment where she's in the bathroom and like they kind of, the girls kind of have this sharing moment where they all arrive at the dorms and she reveals that her mom killed herself, and you know it's very sad. But later on in the bathroom, she overhears the girls talking about her, mainly Jocasta, and they're kind of like, I don't know, making fun of her for being like a standout or anything like that. But I think at that point, what do you do? Do you just like write those girls off, or do you kind of try to get in there?
I think you'll probably agree. It depends on my mood.
Okay.
Because either I'm writing those girls off or I'm opening the door and saying, excuse me, and like causing a scene. Depends on my mood. But I don't think I would like try to, especially Jocasta. I would not try to talk to her. Okay, so wait. So here, you're gonna roll your eyes at me.
Okay.
The dynamic between them feels very much like two girls written by a man for me. Because Jocasta was like so flat. It's like, ugh, like, I don't know. I wanted like, you know, at the end when she's like, oh, like she like tells her she did a good job or like puts her hand on her shoulder. It's like, so I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That like, dumb. Why would that happen if we never saw any bit of kindness coming from this character? Yeah. And I wish there had just been like, she was casually cruel and casually annoyed, but it felt like she was very like capital MG mean girl.
I do think Jocasta was written very flatly. I think the performance was a lot more nuanced. Yeah, I think when you see the certain looks that she gives and like, she feels more like she is just a bitch, but she is kind of just ribbing her and is not entirely like, she doesn't hate Ellie, right, you know, she doesn't. But I think Ellie seems to isolate herself more than anybody isolating Ellie. And that's kind of annoying. The fact that she does think she seems like a character that does put herself above everybody else. And like, she is just smarter than everybody else, or that she, I don't know, is just more worldly than everybody else. Like, she's not worried about the Kardashians. She's worried about, you know, fashion in the 60s and how she's going to put that into her work. Right. So in that, I think she's kind of annoying, but then like, I don't know. I do kind of, I think I'm torn between whether if I like how she was written or if I like how she was performed, because I think Thomasin McKenzie was really good at playing like frightened and terrified. Like, I thought she was fantastic, and that's everything I want in a, you know, a girl in a horror movie.
Then we get the first night of her where she dreams, but then is in the 60s, and I took a bunch of notes about how cool that looked. Like, I like the way that shot. I like the way like she's sinking in and then is just like in the 60s. I thought that all was like super cool. Yeah. And I do like, I mean, we said this before, but like, we're just kind of thrown in there, right? Like, there's like, we see Anya Taylor Joy, her character, but we don't really know, right? We're just like, it's almost like she sees through her eyes, but like not into her mind. So she just sees what's in front of her for those like 2 hours that she's in her body, but that's it. So that's why she doesn't really know what's going on. And I do like that.
Oh, I love that, because I think when you that is what makes us want more, right? It's like we get just enough, we just get to see, we get to like be a voyeur, and then we're like closed off from that. The door closes and we're like, oh shit, I want more of that. I want to see more of like Sandy. I want to see where she's going next. I think that was absolutely perfect. Actually, you know, during these flashback scenes, I read that they were originally not going to have any dialogue, and it was going to be completely music. And I'm really glad that they put dialogue in there, because I think just robbing Anya Taylor Joy of any sort of dialogue is like is wasting her fucking acting ability. Because she is really, really good in these scenes, and she comes in this like really nice like 60s pink dress, and I think that it just fucking like blows me away. All of her costumes, all of her dancing, all of the lights like shining on her, like it's such an aesthetic that just like fucking sends me to the moon.
And like even that first scene when they're in the mirror and she's like poking at it, it's so cool. It looks really cool.
And they use the mirror a lot throughout this,
and it works. I mean, I could see someone saying it, but every time it worked for me.
I think so too. I think there are things that, you know, have been done time and time again, and they get a little stale. But if you can do them in the right way and you can treat
Yeah.
them the right way, then it really works. That's why I liked the X movie so much, because it really was just a movie that's been done a million times, right? But they took such care with it that it became a really good movie. And so I think they do a lot of those things with this, because the mystery is not particularly like that thrilling, you know, like it's not, there's not a lot of twists and turns. There's a couple, but it is pretty straightforward. Like this girl's getting like kind of haunted by this vision of the past. And I guess so she's haunted. That's like spurred on all these visions and everything by like, she is now renting Sandy's old room at the top of this like building.
We don't know. Do we know that right away? I can't remember.
Not right away, but we know from the first vision that she was in Sandy's room, because I think it ends with Sandy in the bedroom. And then like throughout the movie, she's going in and out of these dreams, and it's getting a little bit seedier, a little bit seedier. I really like that when we check back in with Sandy, she clicks up with this guy Jack, and when we check back in with Sandy, Jack is like got her an audition, right, for some singing job, whatever. She thinks it's gonna for like some headlining act, but it really is just for prostitution, basically. And I really like that, and I don't know if you would agree with me that when we check back in there and Sandy is up and performing, she does this like really slowed down version of like a cappella version of Downtown. Fantastic, by the way. Ian loves it. The music's really good in this. But when she's performing, we have such build up, even just from one scene, we have such build up to this audition that the audition was a little bit lackluster. Sandy is super talented. She's gorgeous. She's super magnetic and charismatic, but she seems like all the other girls who are going out for the same thing, and like there's not much to differentiate herself from the rest of them. And then she's kind of thrown in with the rest of them in this life of like, you dance on stage and men take you backstage after, and you have sex with them for money, and her pimp is Jack and all of that. So I really liked that with Sandy, and that we are not shown this girl who is better than anybody else. She's as good as everybody else, I would say. Do you think that, or did you think she was?
I mean, she was good. I think it was just, I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was really good. I don't know. I thought her audition was really good.
Okay, I might be seeing it differently then.
I mean, because like it couldn't be a big performance, right? Because it's an audition. So I mean, not that either of us are auditioning for anything with singing, but I would imagine that's how that goes, where it's like you don't have the backup, you don't have, you know what I mean? It's just like either you got the voice or you don't.
That the first night that we saw her, when she just shows at the club and she's not even auditioning, that was a better audition than the one she gave, like, I don't know. But then she's like, kind of in this life of prostitution, which really does go in with like Soho in the 60s, I guess. I did a little bit of research on that. That was a big thing, girls would go to these big cities and they would want to, be these big stars and end up and, just trying to get by, they would end up with a pimp. And however, and Jack is that pimp.
Also is played by Matt Smith, who was like a very kind version of the Doctor in Doctor Who.
I guess. I don't know. He didn't do it much for me. Sam Claflin.
Oh, he does it for me.
Sam Claflin. Wait. The cop who sees her in the bar when she's kind of like, she's like drinking a bunch, and we're getting this like montage of her on different nights, and everybody's asking her name.
Isn't Sam Claflin from Hunger Games?
Yes, I don't remember him from that. I remember him from Me Before You. Is that the one where he's in a wheelchair? I don't know. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's like very handsome. With each vision, things just get seedier and seedier, and like it freaks Ellie out, and she doesn't even want to go sleep anymore. So she's like trying to stay up. She's trying to like stay in class. She's trying to just not go back to that flat and go back to sleep, because she's seeing these really dark things.
She gets a job at the bar.
She does get a job at the bar.
The cute guy who had asked her out comes to visit her in the bar. That guy is very patient, by the way. Because
yeah, I think everybody is very patient with her. Everybody is like, considering nobody else is seeing anything that she's seeing, like they're letting her get away with a lot of stuff. This guy is very cute. Like when he smiles, he looks like he looks like a stop motion animation smile. Like it's really big. Like his teeth are super white. He looks gorgeous.
It's a very nice smile. Yeah.
But then this is her love interest, and he's like into her. He's like trying to pick her up. He's trying to take her out, and they go out to this Halloween party. her look in this Halloween party. I wish it would have been her final girl look, her like end of the movie look, because it was perfect. Like she's got this raccoon eyes, and she's got this black dress, and they go out to this like club, and Jocasta and the popular girls are dressed up like the Craft. Fucking loved it. Thought it was so cool. I think that's one of my favorite scenes, though. I love the drama in that scene. How they're dancing, there's strobe lights going, there's music, and then she starts seeing the ghosts around her, and she's seeing things in the mirror, and she's seeing Cindy. And
I also love like it doesn't have to be Halloween, a costume party in a movie or TV show. Like having my characters dressed up as other characters. I love that shit.
Yeah, especially when directors, like, you can tell that they're film lovers because they put them in like, not just like it would have been very easy to do like a Cleopatra costume, right? Because that's been like done to death. But like the Craft girls, ooh, that was a good one. But even in that scene, so like Jocasta, I guess Jocasta like drugs Ellie. She gives her a drink. It gives both of them a drink, and it's like there's probably a hallucinogen in there.
So the
it felt friendly to me. I don't know. I don't believe Jocasta was trying to be a bitch with that. I think she was trying to get Ellie to loosen up a little bit, which is not the best way to do it. Don't drink people's drinks, guys. But
I know what you mean. Like it was probably all the girls were like, ooh, putting in their drinks, and they're like, all right, let's let the nerd like hang out. This is when I put in my notes. It goes like full. I know you didn't like watch it, but it gets very Twin Peaks at this point. Mm-hmm. Like this all very much reminded me of Twin Peaks. The way the ghosts start appearing to her is very like Twin Peaks. It's like the thing will be moving fast and you don't know what. Like it reminded me of that. And I was wondering. I meant to look it up, but I forgot. I was like, I wonder if Edgar Wright's a big David Lynch fan. This all felt so Twin Peaks to me. Like from this point on, a lot of it felt very Twin Peaks.
Did you figure that out? Is he a Twin Peaks fan?
No, I meant to look it up, but
okay. Well, I'm gonna assume he is. I'm guessing because fucking everybody seems to be. I've never seen Twin Peaks, and I have to watch it. I'd watched one episode, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like. Is it supposed to be this hammy? Is it supposed to be?
And that first episode is good. But yes,
so
it is very.
They find out Laura Palmer's dead, and he's dropping the fire. Like, Laura.
That show. Don't tell Adam Sass anyone. That show is very unbalanced. I think David Lynch needs someone who's going to say, sweetheart.
I think a lot of creative people need that.
Yes. I think Lady Gaga, I love Lady Gaga, my favorite pop star. I think she could use that too sometimes. But the episodes that are great are like really fucking, like the episode where you find out who killed Laura Palmer, I think is one of the best episodes of television. And that's in season 2, and I hate most of season 2, but that episode is like fucking fantastic.
So you're saying this part was like that. So this part, this whole scene is like very fast. It like she sees the ghost, everything's like very like quick, and like she's moving, and we're moving to locations really quickly. Is that how Twin Peaks is then?
That's how they do the creepy stuff. It's always like a quick like a pan, and like maybe the creepy thing was here and we're like panning across. So it's just like a quick, not like a flash because it's there, but like we're like moving away from it quickly. And that's what this, and in The Return, the like revival, there was like, David Lynch doesn't explain his things and it's a lot of nonsense. The things that are not ghosts, but are kind of ghosts looked exactly like the ghosts in this.
That's interesting. I thought the creature design was really good in this. So like I was hoping this was more original. I don't know, because ghosts are, you usually see them a little bit different. I liked how we saw the ghosts in this one. But like, so this coming scene then right after the Halloween party made me super uncomfortable, right? Because Ellie's not supposed to have any men over. Miss Collins, the board lady, like made that super clear. Then you're not allowed to have men over. You're not allowed to like make noise after a certain time. She's making fucking noise throughout this whole damn movie. She's always like blaring her fucking record player upstairs. Like, turn it down.
Or screaming.
Turn it down. We're in an apartment now, and I'm like screaming at Alistair all the time if it's like after 9 p.m. and he steps too hard. I'm like, fucking. There are people under us.
I will say, moving back in with my parents, that was the only nice thing. It was like, ooh, I can play my music at 10 p.m. This is nice.
Well, Miss Collins doesn't mind that because Miss Collins is also from the 60s and loves that music. She's like, let's jazz it up, baby. But so Ellie brings John home. There's a lot of J names in this. John. She brings John home and they're like kissing. They're kind of like, getting frisky in the bed. And then like she like goes into a full blown vision of Sandy getting murdered in the bed. And it's fucking wild. It's stressful. It's like, and this is one of those scenes that doesn't have really any consequence. And it's wild that it doesn't. And it does take it a couple points down for you because there are no consequences to this part. Because this is a boy
Right.
in her room, and yeah.
I would never speak to her. Like, right. If you went home with
Yeah.
a guy and that happened, even if the guy later was like, oh, there were ghosts, I would be
Yeah.
like, that's cool. We're good. Don't ever talk to me again.
Because and it's so hard. It's so hard too, right? So like they're getting frisky. She's having these visions, and then he is like, she's like screaming at the top of her lungs, right? And like Miss Collins downstairs hears it, and Miss Collins goes up to the room, and she's like banging on the door. She's asking if she's all right, and this guy is like in her room, and like, I don't know what to do. I'm about to like, and Miss Collins is like, I'm gonna call the police, and this is a black boy, by the way. This is a black guy, so like. It was very uncomfortable, and he like bumps into the mirror, and Miss Collins gets into the room, and I was like very nervous that like he was gonna die, that he was gonna get stabbed, or like he was gonna get arrested, or something like that. He manages to get out, and she's just fucking screaming bloody murder because she like, but like I also, this is where it gets really hard, right? Is like she cannot fucking help it. Like this is like wild, she should lock herself in a white room with padded walls, because like, how do you function in the world if this is happening like on a dime? Like,
See, but wait, this is where I'm going to be an asshole.
okay.
Because I'm like, stop screaming. You know they're ghosts. Stop fucking screaming. You know it's not happening to you. You know they're ghosts.
I wonder if she was feeling any of it. Do you think she was feeling any of it?
I don't.
Like,
I mean, but that needed to be conveyed to us because it didn't seem like she was. So for me, I'm just like, it's fucking ghosts. What are you screaming about? Like,
I would be screaming too. It's a lot. This is a lot. This is stressful. She loves Sandy. She loves her, and she's seeing Sandy being murdered.
I told you in the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, when that one girl's like not freaking out and she just quietly like goes on the bus and sits down. That would be me. I get very like quiet and like, all right, let's move. Like,
so do you just tell John, hold on, baby, hold on. And you say, get off the bed real quick, get off the bed. And you say, come stand next to me. And you stand next to the wall and you're staring at the bed until Sandy is done dying. And then you bring John back to the bed and you say, let's continue. That's what you do.
I want to get laid. So I'd be like,
oh my God.
I'm seeing some ghosts. Can you hold my hand real quick?
Just be like, Miss Collins, do you have another room?
Like, ooh, there's a lot of ghosts going on. So
Listen,
like, you can't fuck yet.
I sympathize a little bit because it is like totally out of her control. This is not a normal like situation, but she still owes this guy an apology.
Yes!
Does she apologize to him? I feel like if there was an
She
apology,
avoids him.
it was very fleety. Like she does avoid him. Like there's no real conversation about what happened.
Because that's even more like, why is he still being nice to her? She doesn't even like go to be like, I'm so sorry. It was just like, and that's why I don't like her. For me, she's so.
It's just hard. It's hard. It's hard for me to hate it because I think it's just, I'm trying to put myself in those shoes and how traumatizing that would be for these things to just happen, because it's alluded to throughout the movie that she'd had another mental break at some point because of things like this. And so I wonder what that was like also, because her grandmother is very nervous about her going to London by herself.
Well, because the mother had a lot of like I think it's like it's like they don't like definitively say, but it's like the mom had mental health issues and died by suicide, right? Yeah. Wasn't that assumed that the mom? Yeah. So I feel like she probably has some mental health issues, and the grandma's just like. I also appreciated that grandma was just like incredibly supportive and nice.
Everybody is incredibly supportive and nice. Again, everybody towards Ellie is very supportive and nice. Ellie, I love you. Thomason McKenzie, I think you acted it fantastically, but like somebody should have slapped her at least once. Somebody, because Ellie, like the next day in class, like he's not even angry with her. He kind of just like looks at her and looks back at his work, but then like she has another fucking vision in class and like has a freak out in class and runs out and she's on a mission to like uncover this mystery. There's the guy who comes into the bar that she works at. It's an old guy, and he's been following her around Soho also, and so she's pretty sure that it's him.
Did you think he was gay? Because I thought that was going to be the whole thing, is like he's like this nice older gay guy. That's what I thought it was going to be.
No, what did I think? I don't even remember what I thought, because I did think he did it. I thought he did.
Oh, you did?
I thought that they were making it so obvious that it was one of those Scream things that it's like so obvious and it's right in front of you that you would think it's not, but it is. So I think I did think it was him, but she like fully thinks it's this old man that keeps coming in, and so she goes to the police. She goes to the library and starts doing all this research. And fucking John, bless his heart, goes in there and helps her do the research. He's like, "You're seeing ghosts from 1965 to 1967. Okay.
He's
I'll
like, all right,
take
let's
that
do
box."
this. Great.
And like, I do love when she goes in there and he's asking why she wants to look up all of that stuff. And she's like, "I'm a fashion student, doing a fashion based on murders of the 60s, which sounds like a pretty punk, like, fashion line, to be honest. But yeah,
Zachary's telling me about a punch.
I love a punk. No, I just think John is like too good for her, and should have nothing to do with her for the rest of any other time. But like, so she has another freak out in the fucking library, and this one is like terrifying. Again, they just happen. Like, she sees all these ghosts of these men around her, and these are all the ghosts of men who, I guess, had sex with Sandy for money. Is what they are, and so they're following her around.
Well, that she killed.
Yes. Well, we don't know that yet, though. So she is in the library running from these guys, and then she's at one point does the perfect final girl thing that the final girl is supposed to do, and she says, "Fuck this, I'm gonna fight back." But you're like, "No, baby girl, don't do that right now," because she grabs the scissors, she's about to stab one of them. I think John grabs her hand, and it's like this close from Jocasta's like eye, and like everybody is looking at her, and it's like, she has no future. If this happens, if this is how her life is going to be, she has no future. Put her on some fucking horse tranquilizers or something. Like, she needs to suppress this. This is not a gift.
No.
This death is your gift. Death is your gift. It's this. And again, no consequences to almost killing somebody. Almost killing Jocasta.
I will say I was like annoyed. So like, I know it's the final girl thing to do, but like when they're like ghosts that you like can't touch.
Yeah.
What are scissors gonna do?
I mean,
like, I just feel like, and so I was like, I actually thought what was gonna happen in that scene was she's gonna kill John. I was like, oh God, she's gonna kill John. He's a nice guy. He's gonna get killed because she accidentally does something. And I was glad she didn't accidentally kill someone, because it would have felt like too much. But I was thinking that during the movie. I was like, wait, but Jocasta, especially with how she was written, she would have been telling everyone and like gone to the police, been like, this girl tried to kill me. But it would have bogged the movie down a lot if we also added like, ooh, the police are after her for attempted murder. And like, how do we resolve that? Because you can't be like, no, there were ghosts. That's all.
So we don't see all of that. It is like implied that somebody probably called the cops, and there are cops probably out looking for her. But I think that was the perfect way to do it, is just like leave it implied rather than like we see the saying of like them calling the police. Because Jocasta's a rich girl. Like, this is what I'm getting. And that she absolutely called Daddy, and Daddy is going to have Ellie arrested. I thought that's where we were going to go. But she's like running through the rain. This is just like so good. It's so good. I think the pacing was really, I don't know. What did you think about the pacing throughout the movie? Did it ever like kind of slow you down too much for you?
I think for me after this, it slowed down a little bit.
Okay.
But I will say I didn't, because the movie is like 2 hours, right?
I think so. Yeah.
It didn't feel 2 hours, but for me a little bit here, it slowed down because I kept thinking, okay, but so that's the thing that like in general for this trope of like, oh, the main character is going crazy, but they're not. Like, we know they're not, but everyone else thinks they are. Is that like, what now? Yeah. And I found myself thinking, okay, but what now? Because like, she can't fight these ghosts. What are we doing?
And that's fair, because I mean, you do kind of just go from location to location to location, having the same. She sees a vision, she has a freak out, she does something that everybody's staring at, and she leaves. And like, they do that like 3 times in a row. So I can see that it's a little bit, it could slow down a little bit there, but she goes like to the bar. They like, she shows up looking horrible, and they're like, "Girl, what you doing, girl? You gotta get to work." You got a customer downstairs. And so she like goes downstairs and he's playing Eloise. And, like it's the old guy who keeps following her. And she does. I do like this. I do like that she turns her phone on and like starts recording it or whatever. I thought that was so fucking funny. And she's trying to get him to like confess to killing Sandy, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't fucking kill Sandy." It's like all these Cockney accents.
We have to cover more movies with accents so that way you can do this the whole time.
If I can listen to it right beforehand, I think I could probably do it a little bit better too. When I'm on a fucking Love Island kick, it's like nonstop me and Alistair around the house, just Love Island accents. So this old guy is like getting pissed because he's like, I didn't kill Sandy. Sandy killed herself or whatever. And so when did you start realizing the twist before we actually get to the twist?
You mean that Sandy was the landlord?
That Sandy is the old lady who like runs the boarding house.
Honestly, I didn't really until she's sitting with her. That's when I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And like not to like almost the very that twist. I saw it coming that he was not the killer. Yeah. I did not see it coming that that woman was Sandy.
It was
like
I don't think one.
Yeah. I don't think until she was sitting there with her and like it seemed like the old lady was stalling. I was like, oh wait a minute.
Yeah, it was a pretty good one. So like this old man is not, she thinks he's Jack, the pimp, who she thinks killed Sandy because that's what happened in her vision. And she like runs after him as he's trying to leave the bar, and she like I got you on tape. She like runs after him, like holding the phone at him, and like she's very like she thinks she got this motherfucker. She's like, I got you. And he gets hit by a car.
Camera.
But this was like the older version of Sam Claflin. So this was the guy we saw earlier, and he was a police officer named Lindsay who had nothing to do with this.
And she gets him killed.
And John shows up. And John's like, do you need some help?
He's like, oh, you just had that old man murdered? Well, let me help you.
Let me help you. Let me drive you. And she's like, I need to go home. And so she has him drive her to the boarding house because I think she wants her deposit back at 2 a.m. in the morning. I don't know.
Like, just go, right? Like,
just go home. But she goes back to the boarding house and like has a chat with Miss Collins, and we realize that Miss Collins is Sandy. And like she has a picture of Sandy on her wall. Like I do think it helped that we weren't really looking for that because Anya Taylor Joy has such a specific look and has such big eyes, and this actress playing the older version. Do you remember her name? Oh my god, that's horrible.
Emma Peel.
Emma Peel, or is it Diane something?
Yes. Oh, okay. Diana Rigg.
See, don't look at me like you knew it. He thought he was telling me.
Emma Peel is the character she played in that old show, The Avengers.
Yeah. Okay. So like, and she, God rest her soul, I think this is her last role. So
yeah, it was
a good role for the last one. You know, good. I don't know, horror. But she doesn't look like her. She has like smaller eyes, and like Anya Taylor Joy has these really big, like expressive eyes.
But also, like that's fine. That doesn't bother me because like she's a lot older. Yeah. It's not like
I like a movie more when an older actor is kind of putting their own spin on a performance rather than trying to imitate the younger one or trying to look too much like the younger one. Like I think sometimes people get bogged down with looks too much.
Yeah. The only time it bothers me of like if it's supposed to be like 10 years and it's completely different, that's the only time it'll bother me.
Yeah, absolutely. And because, Sandy's like, what, in her 20s? She's supposed to be in her 20s. Like, this lady would have changed so much by then. Her entire person would be different, personality-wise. So it made sense, and she did a really good job. And I think both of the older actors did a really good job of, like, putting their own spin on a performance so that we couldn't exactly tie them to any specific person. And I think that really helped with the mystery. But like, so Miss Collins is Sandy. Sandy tries to poison Ellie. She's only like debilitated enough for John to come in and get fucking stabbed because John by now, at this point, John, you should realize that you should not be near Ellie. You should go somewhere. You have a dorm, you have a party, you have something.
He like missed being attacked 3 other times. Was like, let's go for a 4th.
Get stabbed right in the fucking stomach. But as we know from Scream, a stab in the stomach does not mean death. And Sandy just chases. I thought this scene was really cool. Sandy chasing her up the stairs,
the steps, and the way they
just all because it's none of it is just like based in reality. It's very what would the word be? I don't know. It's very artistic, artsy fartsy.
That's the word.
The vocabulary I know, artsy fartsy. And she's like flashing between Anya Taylor Joy and Diana Rigg, and it's just so fucking good. But I mean, the house is on fire. Also, like there's a lot
Also
going
that-
on here, guys. There's a lot going on. The house is on fire. John's laying at the bottom of the stairs, bleeding out, screaming for Ellie. Ellie's like drugged up, but like kind of like getting her Bambi legs. So she's trying to get upstairs.
Her Bambi legs.
Just a little bit shaky. But Sandy ends up killing herself, and Ellie gets out, and John gets out, and I guess.
But I did like that. I like the thing that I liked was I like that her character is just kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna sit here. You can go. Like I'm done. I'm gonna sit here and die with all the ghosts. I kind of like that. It wasn't like, I mean, granted, she did just try to kill her, but I like that she like she was kind of just like, yeah, you know what.
It was like that. It was like that. She didn't have any sort of like big moment where she realized the error of her ways. She's like, the police are here. I don't have time to kill you.
Like, the police are here. The place is burning.
Go save your friend. She even says, "Go get your friend." You know, he's probably still alive downstairs. I think one of
Your
the
friend
other big
that
twists,
I stabbed.
one of the other big twists was that all of the men that Sandy had slept with, like over time, she had been killing. So her pimp Jack was the first guy she killed. Is what I'm guessing, and then the rest of the guys since then she was killing and putting them in the walls. I don't know how she was doing that, and
I was bummed. And now this is going to go back to your like not watching a trailer thing. I was bummed that like the big scary moment was in the trailer, and that was the only big scary moment was like the hands coming through the floors and the walls and like them tearing it down. Like I wouldn't really call this a horror movie, but like that was the only moment of like horror, and we had already seen that in the trailer, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I think moments like that that's what kind of like makes it horror for me, is like moments like that, is like the amount of terror and horror imagery that we have, and I think we have plenty of it in this that we can call this a horror. I really love the style too, even when they're like the hands, like you said, are like busting through. It's like glass, right? It looks like glass rather than like them busting through wood. That's so fucking cool to me. And then it's all these the ghosts of these men, and they're like, help me, kill her, avenge me. And I like that Ellie's like, no, fuck you. I love Miss Collins.
When the ghost is like coming out of the bathroom and she's like freaking out, and it's like, help me. And it's like, the whole movie, you couldn't have said that 2 hours
spoke. You couldn't have said anything.
And I put in my notes, is this me and Zach every time we fight? It's just like, oh, that's what the miscommunication was.
It's just by the end, this is every time me and Ian have a fight. It is there's a lot going on during the fight. By the end, we finally say the thing that we were arguing about, and I get it. Okay. By the way, we didn't record for this one because we had gotten into a big argument right before we watched it. And
don't tell everyone.
I don't give a fuck. We got right to the end of the argument, and it was like we were both really heated, and we were like, "Do you want to still watch this?" We just rented it. We're like, "Yeah, we already rented it. Let's watch it." We watched it, but then by the end of the watching it, we were like, we're too tired to like to record.
Well, and Zach was like, "I don't want you taking notes because I want you to pay attention." Well, good thing I took notes because I took.
I'm glad you did. But I did really want you to pay attention for this one, because I was hoping you were gonna like it a little bit more than you did. I don't know. I just loved it. I loved the like 60s and all of that. You know, I'm not like other girls either. I do enjoy the 60s and older music. The music, by the way, that's another really good thing that we didn't really talk about.
Very, very good. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I bought it on vinyl thinking I was getting the soundtrack. It's just the score. It's just the score and Downtown by Anya Taylor Joy.
Zach, why does that happen? I feel like you know a lot about these things. Why does that happen? Because that has happened before. There's been times when I remember.
It's probably like because they license it for the movie.
But don't they have to pay a lot for it to be in? I guess it would be different.
Yeah, they probably do. But then like distributing it, they probably have to. It's probably a lot of money to do that. But the way they use music in this is really, really good. So it's all like period music. We get a lot of that. Especially during like these dream sequences and stuff, and it's really effective there, but also during the moments of like the highest tension. There's right after Ellie has the freak out in the classroom and runs out and leaves her bags and everything, and she's running through the city, they're playing There's Always Something There to Remind Me, and it's like that blaring loud mixed with this really intense score right underneath it, and it's just fucking maddening. It's like chaotic, and they do that throughout this whole fucking movie, and it's so good. It's so effective. It's so effectively done.
Yeah, no, the music, I feel like you and I both are like, that's one thing we both always are suckers for. Like, I like using like not just score. Like I like a score, but I like
Yeah.
using both.
Yeah. I think so. What was one of your favorite scenes? What your favorite scene and your least favorite scene?
My favorite scene. Hmm. I want to say it's the club scene, but I know that's your favorite scene. I'm trying to think of something else to say. I really liked that club scene. You know what? Maybe that first time when she like goes into her dream with the vision slash dream with the mirror, I just really liked the way that looked.
Yeah.
And I guess my least favorite. No, you know what? No, the library. That's one of my favorite scenes. I will say the library.
And it was really good. It was really well done.
Yeah. My least favorite. Wait, also we got to talk about the end because you don't like the end and I like the end.
Oh, yeah, I completely like wrote it out of my memory. Okay. That was not the end. Ellie did not get away. That was not the only end. Go ahead.
Right. So then we have like our little like happy epilogue that's like the kicker at the end, and it's her grandma's there, her boyfriend's there. She has a fashion show. Everyone loves it. She kills it. She goes backstage. She sees her mother again, but it's like she's approving of her. And even Jocasta like touches her shoulder and tells her she did a good job. And it's like a neat little wrap up. Zachary does not like it. I liked it. I think.
What did you like about it?
So because I don't really, for me, this wasn't really a horror movie. It was like a supernatural psychological thriller. And I felt like the movie itself needed a little kicker at the end that wasn't just like, oh, the building's burning down. Like we needed to be like, because she had like, we knew she had these like mental health issues. We knew her mother did. So like, you know, you still might like have a nervous breakdown after that happened. So I felt like because the movie wasn't interested so much in the horror, it was more interested in like the reaction to everything. I felt like that made sense for like a quick little, and it was quick. So it wasn't like we stayed on it for like 10 more minutes. It was like what, 3 minutes maybe. And so that's why I like that. Cause I like the little wrap up to be like, oh, like Nana's okay. She's there visiting. Like we're doing okay.
Nana should have been there already. Nana should have gotten to the fucking city already. Okay. Let me shit on the movie for a minute. This ending was fucking stupid. It was horrible. First off, we open the ending with the whole movie is like building up to this like Ellie is super inspired by Sandy in the 60s and she's going to come up with these really great pieces for her fashion show at the end of the year. They're fucking ugly as shit. She comes up with the ugliest fucking work based on this is the Sandy's like beautiful dress in the 60s, you know? Like these dresses fucking look awful. They're horrible. And then there's absolutely no consequence here. We don't know how much time has passed. We don't know anything. Like it's just, there is no consequence that came from any of those actions. I understand that she was having traumatic moments of seeing visions and all of this, but like she almost fucking killed Jocasta. Jocasta is really okay with just like giving her a pat on the back and being like, you go girl. Really? I don't fucking buy that. I don't buy that. I understand that John was painted throughout the movie to be like very forgiving and stuff, but he should be nowhere near Ellie. Nobody should be anywhere near Ellie. Ellie needs to be home. The movie for me should have ended with them putting the oxygen mask over Ellie, and then like we see that she lived, and then in my mind I know that her grandma came and took her home because like she just narrowly escaped being locked away for the rest of her life. You know? And now she has to live out in Cornhole, England, you know, in her grandma's old house.
But that would be like a fucking might as well died in that house then. Ending is how I feel.
Probably, because what we know is that this isn't an isolated incident for her. She sees these things. These are still going to happen. And if they happen as intensely as they happened here, we're headed down a very bad path, you know? And I just don't like that we didn't see any consequence for any of that.
I don't know. Like, she went through hell. I watched her scream and cry that whole fucking movie.
We flip?
I don't want to
flip.
I know.
Defending Miss Ellie here.
Like she was screaming and crying the whole movie. I didn't need an ending where it's like, look, she's gonna be screaming and crying the rest of her life. For me, that's like
well, that's why I'm saying just the oxygen mask over. We see that both of them lived, and it's good. We can end there. I don't know why we needed the epilogue. I think it's like a take it or leave it. I completely wrote it out of my mind. I completely forgot about it. So I hope you do as well. I hope viewer that you write that out as well. Let's completely erase that from the narrative.
Rude.
You know what? I'm gonna change it. This is my Zach rewrite. The epilogue is all in her head while she has the oxygen mask over her. It's just in her head because that's not fucking happening. Nobody's forgiving this bitch.
I I mean, like, you liked her. You want her to be suffering forever?
No, I just think it's more realistic that she does, and I like a bleaker ending. So, I really like this movie. I would really recommend it to everybody. Would you? You would recommend it? Everybody watch it though, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. If you just had random visions popping up in your life at random moments. You're at Barnes and Noble and you're checking out a customer, and all of a sudden there's a ghost lunging at you. How do you handle that? That's your life. How do you handle it?
Well, you learn to deal with it. This is the time when I'm like,
All right.
fucking get it together, because I would be like, okay, this is happening all the time. Oh, look, a ghost's jumping at me. Nothing's going to happen. It's just going to go through me. So, fuck you, ghost. Like, I would learn to do that. I would fucking suck it up and just have to learn. Because, like, what's the option? You're just screaming every day, all the time?
That's what I choose to do. I choose to scream at the customer on the other side of the register. Just violently screaming, no explanation. And then when the vision's done, I proceed to finish checking her out, and she leaves.
Every time?
Every time. I'm hoping that's not happening for every customer, but if it does, just got some throat spray, and you just start screaming.
Well, then your ending would be just you're screaming all the time and you're going to jail. That's your ending, because that's the ending you like. My ending is I get a nice boyfriend out of it, and I become a star at fashion school.
There you go. I could see this happening for you. It would be at Barnes and Noble. You'd do something involving books. So you'd write a book, and the ending, your epilogue, would be your book release party. And everybody has forgiven you for almost murdering them.
You would not forgive me.
I would not say we are 5150ing Ian. We are locking him away. Okay, that's what we're.
You know
doing.
what? Fair.
Well, where can everybody find you, Ian?
Find me on social media at Ian X Carlos. You can find my other podcast, Slayerfest 98, that Zachary also co-hosts sometimes, at X98 on all social media platforms. And where can they find you, Zachary? And where can they find my bloody Judy?
We can find My Bloody Judy if you search it. My Bloody Judy on YouTube and all that. And then Adventures of Second Beat if you want to search me. But when are you starting Moonrise, Moonfall,
Nana? Moon Knight.
Moon Nana.
Moon Knight. I'm starting coverage this week on episodes will drop on Friday for every new Moon Knight episode, and there will be 6. I'm gonna be putting out episodes on that. Zachary, are you gonna watch it?
Moon Knight? No. That's not. I feel like I don't need to watch that one. It's okay. Hope you like this coverage of Last Night in Soho, and we will see you next week.
Bye.